Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe my channel. 1,000 Old Sisters star Tammy Slaton's thinking about leaving the Bluegrass state, and as she mulls over leaving her old Kentucky home, she may be telling the world a story about what's going on in her life. The tale may not be a happy one. Tammy has had some bad days, but she's a fighter. As she adjusts to being 500 pounds thinner, Tammy's interested in throwing aside the traditions of the past. She is thinking about moving on, and while she hasn't made up her mind, she may actually find a home in another state. Tammy seemed to be very happy for a while, but no life is perfect, and it's clear that Tammy is revisiting her opinions of the people around her. She's changed her mind about everything. Tammy's gentler now that she's thinner. She's relaxing into a new life as a healthier person. She isn't saddled with the same mobility problems she used to have. In fact, she's able to move freely and even dance. That's why Tammy's televised feud with Amanda Halterman was so shocking. Clearly, Tammy still has issues. Losing weight did not fix everything in her life. Will Tammy flee her old Kentucky home? On September 6, 2024, Tammy and Amy lived in a dilapidated home, which, according to U.S. Sun, was filled with trash. The house, with its overgrown grass and shabby exterior, was listed for $69,900 shortly after Amy was busted for possessing marijuana. The Dixon, Kentucky house wasn't a bower of bliss, so it's no surprise that the women wanted to sell it on. In the past, Tammy and Amy's relationship was less than ideal, as seen in the TLC clip above, as per YouTube, so the property may have had its ghosts. Bad memories that cast long, dark shadows. The home, with its tin roof and shovels in buckets, was no showplace, but it was home. However, the sisters seemingly didn't want to live together any longer. Property-wise, they went their separate ways. In October 2024, Tammy relocated, choosing to dwell in a home owned by her sibling, 1,000 Old Sisters Chris Combs, who's married to Brittany Combs. This house wasn't perfect either. As seen in the TLC Instagram post shown above, Tammy's new home, the one owned by Chris, wasn't for sales. Chris encouraged his sister, who can be temperamental, to keep an open mind as she got used to the place. She didn't like the dirty sink and was clearly hoping for more from her new home. However, occasionally, Tammy can be low on gratitude. A dirty sink is so easy to fix if one has the time. There's always room to make improvements. It's not a permanent situation. So, Tammy got a little dramatic about her new Kentucky home, but she settled in there, making the best of it. Before she did that, she gave Chris a month to get the place spick and span. In her own way, she was grateful for all that had been done for her. But on the other hand, she had issues, even though her brother is mostly the heart and soul of decency. She did thank him for what he'd done for her, but griped a lot as well. This is part of the reason why Tammy has so many conflicts. Can be difficult. However, not everything is her fault, and as she chooses to leave Kentucky, the people close to her might want to examine their own actions. The feuds often seem like a bit of drama purposely amplified to create a sense of stress that pumps up the entertainment value of the series. However, under that veneer of theater, there are obviously issues, and some of her family members deserve their fair share of the blame. For example, during the last season, Tammy's brother Chris was very dismissive of his sister Annie's pain. She was going through a lot, dealing with a trio of then undiagnosed mental illnesses, including bipolar disorder. Amy was living with untreated depression and an anxiety disorder. While she was doing that, she was caring for her 2 children, whom she greatly loves. Then, there was the issue of her bad marriage to a man who controlled her, making every decision and guarding the family money. There probably wasn't much of that, like a misser. That's a lot, no? Amy also had to perform for her audience to make the money that she wasn't allowed to freely spend. With 2 kids under 2, the woman was really on the edge emotionally, but Chris wasn't very sensitive. He'd actually called her out for crying and carrying on, obviously perceiving her as a very weak human being. Lack of understanding drives a lot of conflict, but conversations that could clear the air can escalate into total chaos, and in the Slaton family, they usually do. Tammy has clashed with everyone in her family, but who hasn't? She didn't have a mother who was a nurturing presence in her life. The sisters had to fend for themselves all the time. They ate unhealthy food because they didn't have money, and no one taught them how to take care of themselves. It's a sad story in many ways, and the cold parenting of Darlene Rednaw may be to blame, but people can't spend their whole lives blaming their parents for everything. They have to create their own worlds that fit their own values. Along the way, there may be fights as people try to explain to their relatives who they really are and what they want. This is where Tammy's at now. She has her beliefs and her own goals and priorities, and those may not match the ideals of those who will likely remain in Kentucky. As a whole new woman with a different kind of confidence, which comes from deep inside, Tammy seems to have trouble accepting certain things. Maybe she wants to go her own way. Will Tammy leave Kentucky, rendering the future of the show shaky? Perhaps, but more than likely, she'll decide that home is where the heart is. Without her loved one, even if they fight, her life will be hollow. Tammy knows by now who really loves her, even though she loses her temper sometimes. She never loses sight of the fact that some of her bonds are precious. In fact, they're priceless. The 1,000-old sister star is tangling with Amanda right now, but she can handle it. She's been through so much worse.